Welcome everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and let's select the main body here. And this actually looks pretty cool. Right now, we could probably texture this and make it look awesome. Let's make, without adding too many more vertices, let's make this look a little bit better than it is. There's a few ways we can do that. Let's hop into the vertice here, and we can actually make this stuff look pretty good here, again, without adding too many vertices. And what we'll do is we'll try something out with this here, and then we'll see how it looks. You can just simply put E to extrude, just like that. Pretty cool. It adds like a whole other side to it. Now you might think that looks blocky, but remember, a lot of times a blocky aesthetic, if you do it properly, can actually look pretty good. So I think that actually looks good. I'm just going to undo that here. The other way to do that is just simply move it out. And that also looks good too. And you have to kind of decide which one really looks better. A or B. Now, of course, I'm not doing it to the other side, but actually the flat does look pretty cool. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select the top bit here, and this is, by the way, one of the things that professionals do. I'm going to extrude this, and I'm going to, of course, lock this to the x-axis so it comes out safely. And yeah, there we go. I think that looks actually pretty good, right? Just something like that. And if we really wanted to, we can actually even move this out here. Now, one of the things you don't have to do is you don't have to actually move out all of them. You can just simply move out this one. So we can push E to extrude, and we'll lock that to the x-axis like that. Yeah, and that actually looks pretty good. Now, of course, I'm creating a whole bunch of vertices here, and I said I wouldn't, but, that actually looks pretty cool. In fact, let's unselect this one here, E extrude and push X. Yeah, I think that looks great. Let's do that to the other side here. So we'll just go and select all of these. A little annoying, but necessary. Now, one of the things that I'm not doing in this tutorial is using a mirror modifier, and I didn't set up the grid at the beginning to make sure that we are, in fact, I didn't set it up at the beginning to make sure that we snap to the grid. In any event, we extruded this. In fact, we moved it out a bit, right? Like that. We want to make sure, is there an angle we can do this at? Yeah, so this angle actually looks pretty good. Let's, there we go. I think that actually works out pretty well. And you can kind of count the grid, so it's like 1.5. We got, yeah, 1.5-ish. All right, and then we can extrude that something like this. All right, and again, I think that looks pretty good. Let's just push 1 again. But for some reason, the top here isn't the way we want to. But let's go ahead and let's select the bottom here. Now, I believe, let's just, it was just kind of that middle section here. So it was like all of this stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I'm not mistaken. All right, we'll just put E to extrude like that. Looking cool. For some reason, that top here didn't quite mimic the same, so I'm just going to select this right here. All of the edges, of course. Pushing 1 on the numpad. And just moving it in ever so slightly. So there we go. Okay. And that actually looks kind of cool. We have a nice little sniper rifle here. There's a few other things we could add in here. But for the most part, that looks actually really cool. Let's tab out in object mode. It's a little blocky, but you add in some flare, some texturing, it could look pretty good. One of the other things we could do is, let's hop into face select here. One of the other things we could do is make this a little bit better in terms of a handle. We could, in theory, extrude it, right click, scale it down, and then extrude it ever so slightly like that. But I actually don't think that's necessary. I think the handle is good. It is supposed to be a simple kind of blocky gun here. Now, again, if you make the aesthetic blocky for your entire game, and when you think about it, it makes actually quite a bit of sense. Let's say you're in a science fiction game where all of the buildings are blocky, and it's because the style at the time is blocky. For example, the robots who make everything in the universe tend to like blocky design because it's easier to do. If you say something like that, then you can easily justify it. Okay, so I think there's only one other thing we need to do is just add in some kind of cool little connector here. Okay, and in order to do that, let's hop up to 7 here. And where's our cursor here? Let's go ahead and let's create a cube. And of course, this cube is going to be huge. Bring it down, and let's just scale that right down. All right, there we go. Something to maybe about that size. I'm going to move it. The question is do we want it here or here? And I think probably here is good. We'll scale that down maybe about to that size. And so now there's going to be an easy way to do this. All right, so first things first, let's scale it down even smaller. So there we go. Let's just take a quick look. In fact, we can push 1, and that's actually probably about the size that I'd like it to be. Now, if we hop into face select, we can simply move this up and over like this. And that actually doesn't look too bad when you think about it. It adds in just enough here. Now you're probably wondering what this is, what's this there for. Now, a lot of times sniper rifles have weights on it because well, they just do. But if we move the bottom kind of in like that here, and for some reason it just completely missed, we can actually scale this down a bit too. Move it up within here. Scale it even some more, move it up. Yeah, it actually looks kind of cool. But the scaling doesn't look the way I'd like it to. Yeah. So we can actually even just move this down more like that. And that actually doesn't look too bad. The top here, however, if I kind of just select A to move everything, or if I just push, select this here, I think that's the top. Let's just move it up here. Let's push E to extrude here, and then scale that in. And then what we can do is kind of select all these faces, just like this, and then move it down. Now this tutorial is getting a little bit too long, but I think that's probably about it. Let's just tab out in object mode, and pretty much here it is. Here's your sniper rifle. Now, of course, you can go and you can add in as much or as little details as you want. One of the best ways to get better at anything is to simply do more and more of that. But here is a very low poly, and you could probably even fit this in a lot of games if you textured it properly. All right, so if you're into this kind of stuff, Model 10 more, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.